Did I ever tell you the story about what happened to me? January 1995. Ooh, the whole bottle. 1995. Oh, life was good. You know, I was not sure what I was supposed to say right there, but anyway, life was good. I had no idea that I was going to have to earn my pedigree. You see, I was an RN for the American Red Cross. I ran the bloodmobiles. You know, they would come and they'd take your blood, and so I loved that job, man. That was a sweet job. There was something new every day, new people, new places, no paperwork. Oh, it was a great job. So I picked my coworker up in my new truck. It was January 21st, I think. And she was hot. I didn't mind picking her up. But she had a boy. But while we're driving to the FAA, the blood drive was at the FAA that day, and we're talking, we're going down the highway, and she's chatting about her love life, and I'm looking and I'm seeing cars on the shoulder and cars on the grassy knee. What the heck, you know, I'm listening. All of a sudden, the rear ass of the truck spins around, does a 360, smashes into the concrete rail, flips up, catapults, and lands, shooting the two of us out. Black ice! Fucking black ice with my new truck. I was twisted. I felt something pop. You know, something was really wrong. Well, they take us to the emergency room, and my friend, thank God, she was all right. Me, they said my x-rays were negative. I had only bruised muscles and tissue trauma. What the fuck's that? They give me a week off in bed and a prescription for Flexeril. I can't even say that anymore. So I go home and lying in bed, I'm taking my Flexeril. And I go to the sofa and I'm taking my Flexeril and I'm zoned out. I am fucking stoned on Flexeril. And I'm starting to think, you know, this doesn't feel right. I've never felt like this before. I'm so sad and teary and fucked up. And my girlfriend and I had just broken up. I had never been like this before. And then I remembered I had fucking plopped down $450 to go to a seminar to improve myself, you know, and those self-improvement things. And because my neighbor, well, she used to dress like this, you know, all like this, and her hair would be in a bun, and never wore makeup, and she'd go to work every day. I remember looking out the window one day, and man, she had her hair on her babushkis red. I said, what's going on with you? And she said, oh, I went to this self-improvement seminar. Look at me now. She was good. She was nice. So I said, I'm going. I signed up, plopped down $450. But it was that Friday. It started that weekend. So I'm zoned out on this meds, and I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to go. So I take the train down to South Philly. I go to Philly for this seminar. You know, I forgot to tell you something. I forgot to tell you that I was living with my friend Jimmy Sweeney at the time. No, not like that, you know. But he was a sweet man. He would do anything for me. And thank God, because he's the one that picked me up from the hospital and, you know, took me home, kind of looked after me, made sure I ate and everything. But I had forgotten to tell you that because that's very important. So, where was I? Oh, so I'm going down to the seminar and I get down there and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. You know, I'm going to get a front row seat. Oh, I love being in the front. I want to absorb it all. I want to learn everything. I want to improve myself. And I'm right there, and I'm like, there's 150 people, and They're not in the front, but I'm in the front. And I'm already and a little messed up from the medicine, but I'm good. And this woman comes out. She's kind of petite and slender, and she looks good, you know, is very professional. She had short hair, and she proceeds to give us the rules. And the rules are, you can't leave the room, you can't go to the bathroom, you can't chew gum, you can't drink or eat, and there's no note-taker. Now put your bag under your chair. I'm like, well, must be a reason for this madness. Okay, you know, she's in charge. Well, her name was Tony Kendall. And she ran this seminar. It was called the Forum of Landmark Education. She was really good, though. She was inspiring, uplifting, motivating, and oh, I just loved her. So the first thing she teaches is about our wants and our needs. And what she says is you have to learn to speak up for what you want and what you need. Well, I wasn't ever really good at that. I was always kind of a little self-conscious, although I do have a great self-esteem, but I always was never sure about speaking up. So for example, somebody asks you if you want ice cream, and you say, oh, I'd like ice cream. Well, what kind? Well, I don't know. What are you having? Oh, I don't know. What do you have? Just say you want the fucking chocolate! Basically, that's what I was getting at. We have to express our wants and needs in order to fulfill our wants and needs. The next thing she taught us was about our belief system. And her philosophy was that what we believe is not our own beliefs. Okay? They're beliefs from our teachers, our ministers and priests, our family, our friends. That all of these belief systems are what make us who we are. And so the activity was that we had to think for a minute about someone in our family that we hadn't communicated with for a while. And I guess the idea was that we were believing something happened that didn't happen. I don't know. So I picked my Uncle Nick. I hadn't talked to him in a long time. Oh, he was my favorite uncle. I loved him. Oh, he was so handsome and smooth talker and sweet. And he would come over, he'd play, take me to the playground. He would take me to the banks of the creek and do whatever the fuck he wanted with me. I can't remember the number of violations. He was a pedophile. I had to call him up. I said, well, I'm going to do this. I am going to free him from my traumatic memory. So I get on the phone and I call him. He hangs up on me. I call him again. He hangs up on me. So I call Aunt Ted in. She doesn't want to talk to me. Wouldn't even kid Ted. She doesn't want to talk to me. Well, the thing is, you know, I hadn't seen him since I was 5 years old or something, and, you know, hadn't talked to anybody. I'd been to someone from the family. And we were dismissed from the seminar. And I'm going home, and I'm thinking, what's the point of that? And all these feelings now cropping up through my head, all these dormant visions and shit and all going on, and I was like, I couldn't stop thinking. I couldn't stop seeing things and hearing things and remembering things, and my mind was racing. It was racing, and I felt like I just wouldn't stop. And I get home, and I can't sleep, and I can't eat. I was crazy. But I went the next day, and I'm thinking, you know, she's going to do something really good today. So I get my chair and I'm right in the front row and I'm ready. I'm going to learn how to cope with this shit that came up yesterday. And she says, we're going to do meditation. I've had classes in meditation, so I was like, I'm going to be good at this. So I got prepared. Did you ever try to meditate when your mind's racing? And she takes us little by little, layer by layer, deeper and deeper into a trance. grade. And I'm thinking, what was the point of that? I go home that night, and I'm like crazed with this feeling that there's an electrical current in my brain, and it won't stop the thoughts, and it won't stop the vision, and it won't stop, and it's going on and on and on and on. And I go home, and I can't sleep, and I can't eat, and I was a mess. I'm awake all night long. So, I don't remember a fucking thing. Except one thing. I went to the card store and I bought 150 cards. It cost me $448.50. And I'm signing every one of these cards for my Fear Factor friends. And I'm signing and signing. Who the fuck does this? You're a creep! And I had no control over my emotions. And my behavior was just like, just do it. You're compelled. You just got to do it. I don't remember. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, I had to go back to work. So my coworker picks me up. Not the hot one, but another one. We have to go do a blood drive at the Ritz. And all I remember is rubber bands all over the floor, because they had these teeny tiny little rubber bands that the nurses and the techs used to like flick at each other. They used to go, whee, all the day because they were bored. And so they were all over the floor. And I was compelled. I had to pick them all up, every one of them. Everybody left. And I'm the only one in the room. And I'm on the floor picking up all these little rubber bands, and all of a sudden I see a stage. And I went up to the stage, and I picked up the mic, and I'm like, yeah, I love picking up rubber bands and blood, and I'm singing to myself, and having a grand old time. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. I didn't sleep that night. Again. I go to work the next day. Another coworker picks me up. Get in the car, and she says, we're working today at Epi, Eastern Pennsylvania Psychiatric Institute. Oh my God! Oh my God! And then, you know, the funniest thing happened. We're pulling into the driveway, and I felt at home. I was relaxed. And so we were only taking blood from the nurses that day. And so the first one, patient, nurse, whatever you call them, comes in. And I'm taking her blood pressure. And I'm taking her blood pressure, and I see the blood pulsing through her aorta, through the ventricles, into the bloodstream, through her veins. And I went, oh my God, I'm watching blood going through somebody's body. So I go to my supervisor and I said, I am seeing blood going through the body. And she goes, I think you go home, dear. I said, well, yeah, I'm going home. That's a good idea. So I go home, and not right away. First I called a cab because I needed a ride home. So I called Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, go to the bank. You have to go to the bank because I don't have enough money, so when the cab gets there, you can pay the cab. But I call the cab and wait for the cab, and I'm like, I'm going to go to the desk. I'm going to call that fucking Tony again and give her a piece of my mind. So I call, and I said, she's at the Ritz-Carlton. I was like, oh, I was there yesterday. Do you think that's funny? Or I don't think that's funny. I thought that was very serious. That's not coincidental. I was there, and now she's there. Oh my God. So I get in the cab and I say, take me to the Ritz-Carlton. We get to the Ritz, and I go to the desk, and they put her on the phone. And I tell her, ever since you made me feel this, and I did this, and I did everything you said, and then now I'm seeing people's blood pulsing through their body. And she said, oh, you don't have to come to the seminar tonight. Fucking bitch. I said, but I want to talk to you. I I think we have to have a discussion. She won't have a discussion. So I hung up the phone, get in the cab, and I go home. And Jimmy is standing there, and he's smoking cigarettes like a chimney, and he's really pissed off. And he says, "You left the car running in the middle of the street in park all day, like for 4 fucking hours." I said, "Huh?" He said he looked out the window, didn't see the car in the driveway, looked around and saw the car in the street. And he, of course, was concerned, so he called my therapist. My therapist, her name's Perry. So he called Perry, and she had instructed him to have me call her, so I give her a call. And she says, I tell her the whole thing. You know, that I can't think, my mind's racing, my body's out of whack, just can't control anything, and I'm seeing people's blood pulsing through their body. And she says, calm down, talk slower. I can't calm down and talk slower. I don't have control. And she says, look up in the yellow pages for the nearest ER. Is she fucking kidding me? The yellow pages? So I did that. I'm looking through the yellow pages and I'm thinking, you know, I haven't had any LSD or shrooms in about 10 years. But I know that I'm hallucinating. There's a part of my brain that says there's something wrong. So Jimmy drops me off at the emergency room. It's Our Lady of Lourdes ER. I go in there and the nurse says, what are you here for? And I say, I can't sleep. I need to sleep. She says, have a seat. So I can't sit. So I'm pacing back and forth in this emergency room, getting my miles in. And when somebody comes up to me and says, what's the matter? And I tell them that I can't sleep, my mind's racing, that I see pulse through people, the blood pulsing through people's veins. And they say, okay, dear, we're going to take you for a psychiatric evaluation. And they bring me a wheelchair. What I can say, but at least I felt I was getting somewhere. Somebody was talking to me. So I'm sitting in this chair, and the doctor comes over and he asks me, you know, so why are you here? Can't you read the intake papers? I need to sleep! And he didn't think that was funny. I'm in the wheelchair, and I'm realizing, you know, that I'm going for the psych eval, and so I'm looking around, wheel me to this other unit, and as I'm going, very hyper perceptive. I think that's a good way to put it. Very alert. Put me in this place, in the wheelchair, and there's like a man screaming over here. There's a guy in like a stretcher strapped down over here. And I'm in this wheelchair, and I notice the nurses are walking back and forth and ignoring me. Fuck them. I look around some more, and I see that the quiet ones are not getting any attention. So I stand up, and I go, Tony Kendall, I fucking hate you. You did this to me. I know you did this to me on purpose. I know you did it. I know you did it. All of a sudden, I see Laurel and Harvey in uniforms, and they're coming. And the big guy had a badge on his uniform and his head. Anthony DeFrancesco. I don't know what the fuck that's for, but I'm in the wheelchair, and he says, "Come with me," and I go, "No, I'm not coming with you. Come with me." I'm not coming with you. And I get in that wheelchair and I'm holding on, and he's grabbing my arm and he's trying to pull me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going with you. And the two of them lift me on the wheelchair into the air, and I'm like, I'm Cleopatra! And they take me down the hall, and I'm like, I have arrived! And they bring me to a room. 4 walls and a little window and a bed, and they put me on the bed, and they had leather straps, had the letter. So I laid there and I'm trying to peek out the window to see what they're doing. And the nurses were really very busy. They really were. So one came in and she said to me, well, have you ever had a psychiatric hospitalization? Well, no, I haven't. Well, do you have a psychotherapist? Well, yeah, I do. Do you know her number? No, I don't, but I know where she's in. She is in the Smiley Times building. And the nurse looks at me and says, Perry in the Smiley Times building? And I'm like, yeah. And I knew I was right. I knew, even though my brain was just all over the place. She left, and I'm like, I knew that's right. As crazy as manic as these voices or these ideas are going on in my head, I was sharp as a bell. It was like two different things. She comes in and she says, you were right. We found her in the swamp. And I felt vindicated. Oh, yes. So, they say we're going to hospitalize you in the psych unit, 6th floor, the nut hut. And Laurel and Hardy push my wheelchair up and I go into the elevator and the elevator doors open. And there's the welcoming committee. There's Matchstick Mary, trying to smoke, looking for a light, and she's all brown and gross in here. And then there's shirtless, hairy-chested, no-teeth Harry. Ugh, God, he was gross. And then there was sweet Bonita Ames, and she just smiles and walks my face. And they greeted me. They wheeled me into my room, and I was only in there for a few minutes when the nurse came in and decided that they were going to take me to see the medical directors and the intern for an evaluation. So I go in there and I'm like, okay, somebody's going to help me. And the doctor says, what are you here for? I need to sleep. And he says, well, has there been any mental illness in your family? Well, my brother was on drugs. People said my father was nuts, and they said my mother had a nervous breakdown, but I don't know about any of that. Well, did you ever do drugs? Well, when I was a teenager, I smoked a little of this, but only for fun, entertainment, and maybe a little self-medicating, but nothing, abusive. So then he says, take a look at this. He starts playing cards with me. He's playing fucking cards with me, and they're laughing at me. Him and the intern laughing at me, and I'm like really annoyed that they were humiliating me like this. After a minute or so, the doctor says, you have a diagnosis of manic depression. We're going to give you lithium, Ativan. I'm sinking to sleep. And boy, did I sleep. Oh boy. Well, what can I tell you? I was feeling very fortunate to have a diagnosis. Something for naturally occurring hyperactivity. And I still don't get the depressive part because I've never been depressed. Never felt that. But anyway, I had a diagnosis. And so, I have actually, officially, a pedigree. I have my papers. John, can I have another paternal, please?